evening and welcome to World Online Racing, and it is time to get ready for round 8 in the mystery season, to which we can confirm we're getting ourselves over to the mighty Catalonia circuit in Barcelona, Spain. With its 14 turns, it's 4.657 kilometre long circuit. There are 8 right turns and 6 left turns with its 2 DRS aided zones. So it's looking like this is one of the tracks that may be under a bit of controversy. It's known to have its known issues on the track, but we're here to bring it for you in the last of the game cycle in F124. My name is Corey Brooks. Join with me, it's the mighty Max Ring. How are we, Max? Glad to see you, my friend.
Hello, everybody. Pleasure to be back once again for the first time. I've actually been back here since Canada, but yeah, pleasure to be back alongside you here, Corey. I'm good. How are you on this Monday evening?
I'm ready to rock and roll, ready to get going here in Spain. It's seen its return as we get to the back end of F124. I haven't done too many races on it personally. I don't know about yourself as we got through the seasons, through this game cycle, but I've only seen it twice now, and it's all been at this back end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a circuit because, of course, with its issues and everything, especially heading into turn 13, where that has the mysterious bump where if you go a little bit too far over on the curb, it will just launch you across the circuit. So it's not been featured too much because of the issues it does have, but it's nice to see it return here with the final 3 rounds of the season. But it's going to be interesting, of course, the drivers, even though it's not been featured much in WOR, in other calendars, so they will have their experience, they will have the knowledge of the circuit, and they can certainly see a very, very eventful race here this evening. Of course, plenty an overtaking opportunity, and with that removal of the chicane, Corey, it just makes that run down to turn 1, especially on that final lap, oh so crucial, because instead of trying to get a better run out of the chicane, you're in the slipstream all the way through 13 and 14, and that could be pivotal, especially if you're in second place on that final lap of lap 33, and you're going for that last-ditch move to take the race victory.
Absolutely. The line, it's got a bit of distance to it as you get out of 14, but it does come very quickly, especially as you're battling for position. So again, that slipstream could be vital coming out of 13 and 14. You need to make sure you're in the correct position. You've saved enough of that battery reserve to deploy and challenge it out in the final corner for what could be the victory of the Grand Prix. We are full grid now. We've had a slight little bit of a delay waiting for the drivers to get into the lobby. We have a full 20 now, so shortly we shall be getting underway for qualifying, which should be a little bit spicy. I don't know who to expect to be on the top spot. We do have 2 drivers particularly fighting it out for the championship, that being Luca Rapassa and Leo Lund. You'll see and hear more about that later on as we get into the lobby restart as usual. But for now, Max, expectations high. Who do you think is going to be at the top? Anybody tickling your fancy so far?
I mean, you've got to look at London Rapassa, of course, leading the championship, both of them, both on 3 wins each as well. And they're really the drivers you've got to look out for. Of course, they're fighting for this championship here. They've been super consistent for a majority of this season. Lund only finishing outside the points once, with Rapassa finishing out the points twice. But they've been the most consistent of the lot here this season. And they're going to be looking for a strong result, especially in the midst of the rundown of the season. As I mentioned earlier, 3 rounds to go. You can't afford a mistake here, Corey. So Rapassa and Lund, certainly my shout for the top 2, at least here this evening. But you never know. Someone like maybe Ilari Tulki or the Keedon Lutt, who've been on strong runs of form, could maybe cause an upset in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Can't count out any of those 2 drivers. Larry Tulke, I believe, took a podium last time out. So who is to say what could happen here in Barcelona? It's all for the drivers to fight it out for what I suspect will be around 33 laps for what I've seen so far is the distance on the 50th percenter. But the drivers are getting themselves ready, and it is going to be a little bit of a cloudy but dry qualifying, so that certainly is going to put a smile on some of the drivers' faces. That sun not glaring down will be burning their tyres out while they're mid-lap, but however, it's going to cause a little bit more issues warming up before they get going on their first flyers.
Yeah, it certainly will. And I mean, this is going to be just all about getting those tyres into the correct window. And also a big factor with this qualifying session, not only with the weather as well, but it's very easy to pick up an invalidation around this circuit to Barcelona, Catalonia, especially through that middle sector. Easy just to run a little bit too wide through the chicane of 7 and 8, and then maybe wide through 9 as well. They are big points of the circuit which we need to look out for in this qualifying session. Also in the races as well, because we can also maybe see some 3-second time penalties being picked up. But the first driver out on the circuit is the Kick Sauber of Justin Ertz. We'll see what he is going to be able to do on his first flying lap. Of course, not notoriously strong in qualifying is Justin, more of a race pace man, so we can see what he can do throughout this evening. But it'll be interesting to see what a benchmark he can set and see if he can at least be fighting in the mid-pack once everybody's done their first set of runs.
Absolutely, we've seen Justin Ertz in a couple of spicy battles early on in the season. Mid-pack, he's roundabout right for where he should be challenging for. It's what we've seen early on. But maybe it could be the time to shine for the Kick Sauber as he comes around turn 14 to start his first flying lap. Everybody taking to the tarmac, all but one. Exa Fox retiring from the session. Could be potentially serving a qualifying ban though. I'll have to confirm on that by looking into the penalties, but should have done my research beforehand and seen if anybody was expecting the qualifying ban.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he is. I've not seen anything in the notes, but Justin Ertz heading up through Sector 1 at 21.7 in that first sector. So as the Kick Sauber then drives down the hill into turn 5, late on the brakes, get the car into that left-hander as you then bring it all the way back up to that right-hand side, get on the power as you head through turn 6, that little kick left, then to 7 and 8. Drops the rear ever so slightly there, just slides him a little bit wide and onto the sausage curve. That's going to affect his momentum up here through turn 9. DRS open as he uses all the circuit he can as he heads into turn 10. Of course, revamped quite recently, down to third gear. You'll slowly bring that power back up, easy just to lose the rear end as you then head into turn 12, and then back on the power once more. A big slide there for Justin, lucky to keep that car within track limits as he heads through 13, finally into 14, flat out through here in qualifying. DRS open for the Kick Sauber. What's it going to be? A scruffy lap, ends up with a 1 minute 11.7 as then Diego Zorzo goes 7/10 clear of that, showing how much of a struggle that lap was for the Kick Sauber.
Yeah, Danny Van Rooten lining up just behind, and Kenny Atala coming down towards the line to come onto the timing screens. A couple of invalidations for some drivers. I'm trying to get through the order, but every time I change to a driver, it puts me back to Justin Ertz. But we're on board with Jerry, who I can only assume is Jerry Van Bussel, as he crosses the line for an 11.3. So you can see drivers are very, very close. Ertz is getting absolutely dropped through that field. That moment coming out of the second sector into the third sector just shows how much time loss he has got from that.
It certainly has, and I mean, Justin, again, not only just that mistake out of turn 12, it was also the mistake through turn 7 and 8 as well. That really did hurt him loads, and unfortunately for him, that has really hampered his first runs in this session. So now we are on board with, I'm on board, sorry, with Sergio Sobrino down in 19th place, going under Pack Again Fast for this race, currently in the first sector, and of course on a push up, invalidated his previous attempt. We're now looking to try a second lap time, but a lot of inside curb used there at turn 7. It really made the car bottom out as he then heads up the hill through turn 9. DRS open for the McLaren driver. Currently Leroy Brown occupies that slowest time of all, the only driver in the 1 minute 12, so 12.2 for the Mercedes as we see Sergio Sobrino then heading through turn 12, a bit of a twitch mid-corner, just showing how loose that car can get under power, especially when you've already done a lap on this tyre. And he's decided to divert his attention into the pit lane and abort that lap, so he is the only driver in this session not to set a valid lap time. But Diego Zorzo, a 1 minute 11.0, holding on strong for now, nearly 2 temps clear of Riyad Sprogis. A brilliant opening lap from the Aston Martin driver.
Absolutely. Zorzo leading the charge there by over a 10th and a half. Just where he wants to be. He's feeling very comfortable on that banker lap. So will he come out for some form of improvement on second runs, or will he wait till that final minute to give it one last push? Maybe wait to see what sort of times could flood the timing screens as we get dropping down on that timer just under 13 minutes to go.
Yep, we certainly could. And the man who's just led those first runs out, Justin Ertz, coming out for the second runs and leading that train. But yeah, for Zorzo, he has come out for this second run. He's not left it later than other drivers and has come out second in the queue. So we've had the top two from the first runs, of course, Zorzo and Ertz, who came out first and second on the opening runs. Now here for the second runs in the exact same order, but of course, got to try get all 4 runs, all 4 soft compound tyres used are these drivers. So that's why they're coming in and coming straight back out as quickly as possible, because you want to get as many attempts to improve your lap time and that bid for pole position as possible. And for Zorzo, he's done just that on that opening attempt. He surely thinks there's more time in the bag. Of course he will, and he'll be looking to break into those 1-minute 10s. But for Justin, this is a big lap time for him. Of course, he had a scruffy middle and final sector, costing him a few tenths of a second. That really cost him from about where his teammate is, Daniel Gottschalk. So we'll see what he's able to do as he's heading round the final corner. Corey, take us away with the kick saber once more.
Absolutely, flat to the floor, DRS aided, trying to maximise all the speed that his car can give him before he needs to be a little bit harsh on the brakes going down into turn 1. You see maximising the wide line to guarantee the rotation round to the right, collect himself back around to the left, and then quick on the power, trying to maintain all that momentum as you come around that fast right-hander. Expect to see some potential brave moves down into turn 4 here, as he is just under a tenth up on the time coming out of that sector 1 split, still keeping it nice and tidy to the apex. He's using the curbs as much as he can, maximising the track limits. That's where the time gain seems to be for Justin as he comes through in sector 2 now. Bit of a rear end kick there, and he spun it round. He just caught too much of that yellow sausage curb, unsettled the car, and the rear end just came round on him. Nothing more he can do there. We'll jump on board with Zorzo, who has invalidated that lap. So Zorzo not too happy either. Who else could be potentially next down the line? That is Danny Van Ruiten as he's coming through into sector 3 now.
Yeah, he's up by just under a tenth in that middle sector. Zorzo's invalidations at turn 9 just taking too much of the inside curb. But let's see what the V-Carb can do of Danny Van Ruiten heading through the final corner now. Can he make a bid for that front row at the very least as he crosses the line now? Yes, he can. Goes up into second place. 2 attempts found on his previous attempt, but still just shy of Diego Zorzo. Larry Tulke goes up into third. Sproggett's up by a tenth on Heat Slap. Could we possibly see him break Zorzo's 1 minute dead? No, he cannot. He loses time in that middle part of the lap. And for Sproggett's only third place. Kokeni, and actually, is that some specks of rain I can see? Yes, it is, I think. Is it raining?
Oh, it is. The rain is starting to fall. It's a mixed condition qualifying. That's why everybody's flooding the track. That's why everybody's getting their lap times in. And as the rain starts to fall and pour, it's although it may be a little drizzle, that grip's going to slip away. Zorzo is on pole.
Yeah, he surely is. I'm watching Leo Lund. He's all out of shape out of turn 5. It may not have been raining much, but it certainly made that track ever so treacherous. I couldn't see properly if it was raining or not because it was so light and just so fine. It was just a speck of rain every few seconds. And for Diego Zorzo, how to time your lap perfectly. Got out on the first runs, set the lap he needed to under pressure, and the Aston Martin driver reaps the reward by taking pole position. And for your 2 championship protagonists, Leo Lund and Rapassa, they will line up next to each other in 8th and 9th place. Of course, Rapassa on row 5 and Lund on row 4. But this is certainly going to be quite a spicy Grand Prix at the looks of things. So you have the likes of Larry Tulke up in 4th. He's still an outside chance of the title. Of course, we'll need a big point scorer for both Lund and Rapassa to not score if he wants to really find his way back into the championship picture. But for Diego Zorzo here, Corey, reaping that reward. And for Danny Van Ruiten, it's just narrowly missing out on what would have been a stellar effort in that second attempt.
Absolutely. Leo Lund needed to get high up there in the field to challenge against his rival who just sits behind him there. So this is going to certainly bring about a spicy Grand Prix. All the drivers retiring in the pits, not seeing any point in continuing in the qualifying session. Times certainly are not going to improve as the conditions out there get drastically worse. The rain starts to fall ever harder, although those few little speckles causing the dramas in qualifying, drivers not able to make it to the line and improve anymore. Oh, it's for now, like Leroy Brown, for example, still in the 1 minute 12s. Ertz still in the 1 minute 7s. No improvements there. The rain just came and it caused all the issues. Everybody just sitting there in the pits now, waiting it out for the race to come. Hopefully, we have a dry Grand Prix. Who's to say with the lobby restart, the weather that they know to come may not be the weather to come.
Certainly could. You never know. Of course, the race will have different conditions potentially to what they are seeing now. So the drivers can't really prepare for that on this lobby restart. But for someone like Leroy Brown or Justin, when it rains, it really does pour for them. Of course, not getting those opening laps, and then for Justin making that mistake on that second attempt, he was up by a little bit of time in that first sector, then got just a little bit too eager through turn 7. Then on the exit of 8, got on that sausage curb, and unfortunately that spun him round. And one of the Williams drivers, that's Tope, who's named Nikita Mazepin in this session, has decided to come out onto the intermediates. But this could be valuable information here, Corey. Of course, the drivers don't know what it's going to be like heading into the Grand Prix, like we've mentioned. And going out for just maybe 1 or 2 laps on the intermediates, get an understanding of how this tyre somewhat feels and attacks this circuit. That could be some valuable data he can take into that main Grand Prix.
Absolutely. Again, the weather conditions are still unknown in the race to come. This could be absolutely crucial for Tope, aka Mazepin, as he's coming through Sector 3 there. You see, just pushing the boundaries of the grip a little bit there, lining up those rear tyres, just seeing where the grip is going to start to slip away, where he's going to lose the traction as he tries to throttle through one of the more low grip areas of the circuit. Sector 3, easy known to line it up, especially as you come around into turn 11 and 12. It's very easy to do it. You just get a bit too throttle happy and those rear tyres spin up. But of course, out comes the other Williams, Ariana Grande.
I think that's Keaton Lutt, who's Ariana Grande in this one.
Yeah.
So for Keaton Lutt, he's now it's actually with his teammate on the circuit. They're very neck and neck. Of course, they're ghosting in between each other because, of course, ghosting is off. That's why we have the lobby restarts. And they could have a little battle here. So for Mazepin and Ariana Grande, that's 2 names you wouldn't think to put in the same sentence during a qualifying session. They're having a little bit of a scrap. And it does seem that Tope has come out on top there, as they have eventually retired from the session. But especially for Tope, that 1.5 laps he did certainly could be crucial if we do see some rain in the Grand Prix.
Absolutely. It's always good to get that advantage over your opponent. You see, you need to be prepared and be on your A game, especially in this mystery season. You don't know what track is to come. Catching drivers out, but for Zozo, he's got pole position and certainly set the time when it was needed most before that rain started to fall. Van Ruyten for P2 and Sprogis lining up just behind. Things could get spicy here as we get going for 33 laps. It's a long race, but the lap times are quick. The track is fast flowing with only 14 turns, and that fast right-hander in turn 3, if you can just line yourself up perfectly, you can get a beautiful run going down towards turn 4 into sector 2. Things could get interesting and fast. We shall now come back to the commentator's corner. Oh, I've lost Max.
Oh no, 1 second. Hopefully
I think that's just my stream. You are back. I think that was the Streamlabs being a bit funny. We do have Max back with us. We can now just take a little word from one of our sponsors. Welcome back. Nice little sponsor break there just while we gather ourselves and get the lobby restart underway. But now we take a quick little look at the previous results. What you missed out on last week if you didn't join us, you can see now where Leo Lund took a much needed victory, helping him to close that gap up in the championship, with JST landing up just behind him by just under a tenth of a second. A scrap to the line, and we love to see it go the distance like that. That's where hard racing is at its finest. And then, of course, Larry Tulke taking that final podium position. It was an all-out battle, and Leo Lund took that much-needed victory and closed that gap up to his current rival, Luca Rapassa. So things certainly were getting a little bit spicy there, with Santos in fourth, Sergio Sobrino in fifth. Zozo, your current pole sitter, did only take that P6 last time out. Hopefully, Spanish driver can convert it to a victory in his home Grand Prix. Cameron Dowd's lining up in seventh, for driver who's come back as a reservist with a little bit of a bang to the storm, getting himself right up there in contention in the fights in the races that we have seen him in so far. Daniel Gottschalk in eighth, Joe Marquardt and Tomasz Kokene finishing off. And now, this is what the standings look like just after that mental, should I say, Italian Grand Prix. Luca Rapassa still leading the charge, 103 points. But as you can see, Leo Lund, with that victory, which was much needed, now only 6 points behind. Things are getting spicy as we get into the closing rounds. This is exactly where you want to be. You want to be right within the fight, and for Leo Lund, he's done it well to get himself right back in there to challenge Rapassa. So what do you think about that, Max? Things looking interesting?
Yeah, I mean, between the top two, things are certainly looking interesting. I mean, 6 points separating Rapassa and Lund. And of course, Lund coming off that race victory, with Rapassa coming off that 14th place. It's still all to play for, and that momentum has just shifted straight back into Leo Lund's hands. So it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, they're starting right next to each other on the grid. Of course, Lund in 8th and Rapassa in 9th. So, of course, Lund does have that track position advantage, but down into turn one, it can easily bottle up, and they need to keep their noses clean. And then for someone like Torquay or Keaton Lutt, they're going to need a very, very strong weekend, and they really need a miracle for these next at least 2 races to keep them in the fight heading into round 10, or even just keeping them into the fight for the next Grand Prix. And for Torquay, he's lined up, I think, in 3rd place. And that certainly can do him some favours, especially if Rapassa and Lund in that mid-pack do get caught up in an unnecessary fight that does give them wing damage, or just forces them off a little bit, dropping them out of the points. It certainly could allow them to then have a little resurgence, get at least within touching distance into next week, just to try and hang on by the coattails all the way into that final round. But certainly looking like Rapassa versus Lund at the minute in this evening, it is upper hand to Lund, but of course 6 points separating them. It can still swing either way depending on how this Grand Prix goes.
Absolutely, and let's not forget Zozo being on pole here at his home Grand Prix. If he takes a victory, he's fighting back straight away at Keaton Lutt for 3rd in the standings there. So Keaton Lutt, again, he's not done too good in the qualifying here tonight. Came out on the intermediates for that little bit of knowledge. He's not up in the higher points position, should we say, from the qualifying session. He's going to have to defend against what could be Zozo charging for that 3rd position, unless Keaton Lutt can see himself potentially getting a little bit higher. But we've got to give it to Rapassa and Lund. They have been right there at the top, scrapping it out throughout these rounds. It's just how it has been. And I think we may see it go the distance with these two all the way through. And here tonight, lining up 8th and 9th, rivals side by side in the middle of the pack. They've got to play it smart. They can't risk any unnecessary incidents down into turn 1. Any lap 1 collisions, they need to get through the field as best as possible, as early as possible, and then run the race nice and calmly. No unnecessary incidents that could hinder the race in any way, shape or form. It's got to be either push, 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 or play it smart.
It certainly does. And I mean, for the top 2, it is certainly, in those opening few laps at the very least, play it smart. Just focus on at least keeping inside the points, not picking up any unnecessary wing damage, and then just build into a rhythm from there. Gets faster and faster as you go on, and then you can start picking off drivers one by one. Don't be too aggressive on that opening 2 or 3 laps where you do a silly mistake. You just go down the inside, lock a front brake, and that could completely ruin your chances of some good points here this evening. And for Lund, especially where he's the driver behind. But that 6 points could then, if Rapasa wins, turn into a 31-point deficit. And then he'll be really on the back foot into round 9 and will really be looking to just try and score some big points. So it's all about playing it smart in those opening laps. You need to pick your battles, choose exactly when you need to strike and when you need to pounce. And when you're in a championship battle, the pressure really is on. So making those decisions could be a little bit more askew compared to someone with no pressure. And of course, the drivers further down the order, like your Zorzos or your Tilkeys, they'll be fighting tooth and nail to just try and keep their positions because they'll want to try and keep within the championship challenge. So they'll be going super aggressive to hold on to any position they can. They got to look out for that as well because they will not go down without a fight, and that's where those incidents could occur.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of the way the championship's gone, Luca Rapassa, Leo London, they're on 3 victories each between them, and it's just who could be the one to take it the distance? Like, it blows my mind how close this is getting between 2 drivers. I expected it to be a 3-4 car battle at least at this point into the season, and like you're saying with incidents, they've just kept themselves out of it. A couple of bad races for Lund, not getting high up in the points position where he wants to be, but he has still taken those 3 victories and kept himself right in it. They need to stay clean, they need to stay collected, get out of all those incidents and push it out, fight it out all the way to the checkered flag. They've got 33 laps to go through, but then what's the strategy going to be, Max? Where are the drivers going to place themselves here? They're going to start on the softs, they're going to start on the mediums. Where's it going to be? Because don't forget, hards are banned.
Oh yes, I completely forgot about that stipulation, to be honest. I'll be honest about that one, but yeah, that really is a big question as well. Is it going to be possibly a 2-stop race with how the softs do degrade? So it's going to be interesting to see how they then, of course, tackle that, especially being in the mid pack. Do they go aggressive? Do they go onto those softs and just try gain as many places in that opening few laps, then go on to make potentially a double medium stint come the end of the Grand Prix? Or do they just leave the softs till last, have a late charge up through the order, try get as many places as possible? It's all going to just be about what the drivers feel most comfortable with, what they believe is physically possible, and how they think the race is going to run. Of course, there is always a chance of a safety car around here in Spain, so maybe going onto those softs early could be a good shout for them, being, of course, in that mid pack, getting on those soft compound tyres, focusing on those mediums and taking those tyres to the end of the race. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. Of course, they've only Rapassa and Lund combined, not one Grand Prix, and that was Keaton Lutt in the USA. So they've won at least every other race since then, one of the 2. So it's going to be interesting to see if they can fight their way back up through the order, because again, they've only missed out on winning 1 Grand Prix with them both combined. So is it going to be a second one, or are we going to see one of them shoot up through the order and masterclass on that strategy?
Well, it's all for them to fight it out here. Like we said, they're not high up in the order. They're right there in the mid-pack. So could this be softs on the start and fight through that field and then potentially try and make the softs go as long as you possibly can till you're in puncher territory? Slap on those mediums. It's even, can you defend against the cars behind at that stage with the tyre degradation? You have to play the risky card here with where they're starting on the grid. They can't control the pace unless they get through that field early on. I think we are getting. Are we getting ready? Are we going? Oh, what's happened? Has something happened, Max? I think I've lost Max. Oh no. Well, all was going all well, and Max was having some Discord issues. Whether that is computer issues, I'm unsure. But he's no longer with us and has just vanished into existence. Right, we've got a bit of solo comms for now. We are 19 in the lobby, still waiting for one driver to make the appearance, and then we can get going for the race. But for now, we're sort of stuck in a bit of a limbo. There's not a lot we can do here. We're waiting for a driver to come in. I have checked the Discord to see where we are at. we are waiting to see if we can get a reserve in. I think Reyes may be joining us, but we are trying to get it back to a full 20 grid. But I am going to pull up the calendar real quickly, so you can just have a little look at this mystery season. As you can see, all the rounds are blacked out. You don't know what has come and passed. You can only see the entire pool, the track pool that we are yet to go through. But what I can tell you is we have had Monaco, we have had Azerbaijan, Mexico, Canada, America, I think it was Texas, and then we have Qatar, and of course last week we had Italy in Monza. So with 7 tracks crossed out, now you can cross out Spain. There's only a couple more to get through. Austria comes to mind, Abu Dhabi, maybe even Miami, along the lines of Australia in these final 3 rounds. Still some mighty fine action to go. So you just need to wait to see what is to come. You never know. We may even see the mighty Saudi Arabia, which has been a scene for controversy in early years. Some incidents that have been caused that we've seen out there on YouTube clips as such. Mighty spicy action. I'm just going to take a quick little look at the Discord while we try and see. Wait, what is going on? Okay, so Max's internet has gone down. That we can confirm. He will join back as soon as it is back up and running. We are 20 drivers in the grid. So Max has had an unfortunate internet droppage. His internet has gone down. He's unable to get us going for the race. But I'll try and give you some nice solo comms as we go. Try and keep it as best as my ability. It's been a while since I've had to run a booth solo, but you just got to keep talking. Got to be an absolute waffler, to say the least, and keep the entertainment going. But the drivers are fully into the lobby. We apologise for the delay. There's been quite a long waiting period for a lobby restart, not something you're usually used to. The races normally get going fairly quickly and fairly rapidly. Well, the countdown timer is underway. So I wait patiently, and I'm going to ask the chat, give me a prediction on the next round. I want to see what you think will come next round. I'll write it down right here, right now. And then if it is to come into fruition next time out, because only one person knows the calendar, and that be the man himself, Luke. So if you give me a prediction, I shall write it down, and we shall go from there. Whether it is to come to the chat, have the knowledge of the future. Can the chat tell me what the next round may potentially be? I'm going to go out on a limb and say it could be potentially Austria. This is just my guess. I don't want to say this now. I don't want to get quoted on this like, Corey knew about it, Corey knew about it. I didn't know about it. I'm going to guess now Austria. So that's mine written down. Somebody give me a guess on what next round could be, because it is a full mystery season this time out. Oh, it's awfully quiet in here. It's awfully quiet. It's awfully quiet. But I can tell you that we are on the track. We are drivers readied up, and I'm going to take us trackside so you can get yourselves ready for what is to come of 33 laps of Spain. And the drivers now apply their setups, get themselves ready, set their fuel loads and strategies, which are still a big curveball. Hard tyres are banned, can't use them in the Grand Prix. There is a harsh penalty coming your way if you even think about using that tyre compound. So the drivers most definitely would have selected the softer compound allocation. So they'll get that extra set of medium tyres to use in the race. But here we go, we are 3, 4, 5 lights. The lights are ready, it is go, go, go for 33 laps here. It's a good start for Diego Zorzo and Danny Van Rooten, looking to potentially bring the challenge on. His Van Rooten under attack from Sproggis behind. Sproggis looking for an outside line. Can he get the 2x2x2? 3 cars wide there, going into turn 1 from the back with the Williams boys against Leo Lund, trying to challenge on for it. Danny Van Rooten under harsh attack. Larry Tulke, Riyad Sproggis side by side as we come down towards turn 4. Who's going to get the upper hand? It looks like Larry Tulke is going to defend his position. Riyad Sproggis is there still trying to defend it and fight back, and Diego Zorzo with all this scrapping behind, bridging almost a 6/10 gap here. As you can see, the kickstart with Daniel Gottschalk also trying to get into a bit of a squabble and a bit of a fight there. Riyad Sproggis jumps back up into that P3 as we are the Keaton Lutt, I think it was Ariana Grande, going wheel to wheel with Leo Lund as Leo Lund does dive on through as we get through into turn 9. No DRS until the next lap, so there will be no moves there. Tomas Korkinen with a big send on Larry Tulke, trying to make the move early, trying to get on through, maximising the use of those soft compounder tyres. As you can see, the tyres on your screen before you, we have soft, mediums, and then softs all the way down to Cameron Dowds, who's gone for the mediums. Rapasa and Lund and Zalan Bieda also all on medium compounder tyre. Everybody else on those red walls, everybody else going for the soft stint, getting it done and dusted out of the way because of that mandatory tyre compound. Riyad Sprogis diving up into P2. Zozo 1.2 seconds lead, absolutely flying here as he's just coming around turn 3. Look at the gap he's bridged behind Tomas Korkinen, side by side with Danny Van Ruyten. Can he pull ahead as he has that inside line going into turn 4? He's certainly going to scrap it out. There's nothing but an inch in contacts between them. As you see, Danny Van Ruyten pushed off the track, falling down the order, down into P6. He's now forced to try and fight his way back through against Cameron Dowds and does manage to maintain that P6. But he's lost out big time there. Diego Zoza still pulling away, 1.3 seconds now as Rihard Sprogis tries to close that gap up. Can he pull it back in? Oh wow, what an opening lap there. Big moves from behind. Is that Keaton Lutt? You're damn right it is, side by side against your current contender for the championship. Leo Lund under harsh attack. Luca Rapasa still leading out. The driver's standings leader is ahead of his current rival, and this is beautiful for him. He needs to finish ahead of his rival every race. Diego Zozo taking the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as expected. A 1:14, almost flat, just 19 thousandths off it. What a lap to start you off with. 1.5 seconds clear is Zozo as we see the two McLarens side by side. Sergio Sobrino diving on through on his teammate Joe Marquardt there. A lot of action going on here. It's only lap 3. The action certainly coming to the screen. Is this Cameron Dowds looking to size up a move? Not quite yet. Was closing up ever more to his teammate. Not to his teammate, to Danny Van Ruyten, but just couldn't pull on through yet. Oh, I need a breather. Whew. Trying to keep commentating on your own about all this action going on. As you see, Leo Lund and again Keaton Lutt fighting it out. Leo Lund does pull ahead on that one. Keaton Lutt forced to sit behind, but can he pull his teammate into it? Top 8 behind. Can he help his teammate to fight on against Leo Lund, the current contender for the Drivers' Championship? It's not looking too good from his perspective, but he does have his rival right in front of him, right within his sight, ready to attack at a moment's notice. Things are starting to slow down a little bit now. Oh, the moves have been made early on. Everybody settling into their pace, into their rhythm. Diego Zozo ever more further extends that lead. 1.6, almost 1.7 seconds. Tomas Korkinen with DRS as Larry Tulke tries to follow him through, taking that P2 away from Rihard Sprogis, dropping down into P4 does the Red Bull. Now he's got Daniel Gottschalk on his tail for company, looking for an open door, but it's not going to come yet. Nobody getting the rundown out of turn 3 yet, down into turn 4. Nobody going for any moves. They're going to wait and be smart about it now. DRS manoeuvres as Diego Zozo has lost half a second there to his teammate behind. Has he been given orders to potentially pull his teammate back into it? Max has joined back. Is Max back with us in the booth?
Yes, I am back in the booth. I accidentally just pressed join session, but luckily that will not make me take control of anybody's cars. But yes, I am back in the booth. Sorry about that, everybody. My internet decided to let me down and go down. So what I've just heard from you, Corey, I've heard you for the past lap or so. It has seemed to be very interesting so far, especially with those two Aston Martins now potentially working back together. Of course, Tomas Korkinen now up 4 places in this Grand Prix. It's been a brilliant start from him. Of course, for Luca Rapasa in front of Leo Lund, moving that up that one place, so crucial when it comes to the championship. And there goes Larry Tulke and also Rihard Sprogis with the DRS to the inside line, and they move past Tomas Korkinen and demotes him back down into 4th place. And crucially for Tulke, he's within DRS range of Diego Zozo. So for the Haas driver, looking to keep hanging on to the coattails for this championship fight, as there's Danny Van Ruyten to the inside of Daniel Gottschalk into turn 4. Lovely stuff from the V-Cup to move himself up into 5th place. Not had the greatest of starts from that front row, of course, on that medium compound of tyre. The top 4 on the softs. Danny Van Ruyten is the highest medium tyre runner. There's Gottschalk on the softs, Dowds, Rapassa, Lund and Bieder all on the mediums, and then everybody else on that red-walled soft compound of tyre. But Cameron Dowds now shaking up a move on Daniel Gottschalk. Has the pendulum shifted here, Corey? Have the medium tyres found their form, and are those soft tyres already only 5 laps into this Grand Prix slowly starting to fade away?
It would not surprise me to see Zorzo be one of the first to face that drop off the way he sent it in the opening 2-3 laps to bridge a 1.7 gap that dropped now to within DRS distance for Larry Toolkit. He may have burnt them out just a little bit too quick, burnt all his battery on that opening 2 laps to try and bridge that DRS gap, which he did, but ultimately he's lost it all again. Larry Toolkit coming back with a storm, waiting for that opportunity to try and fight on back. Further behind we have Tomas Koken going side by side. Danny Van Ruyten looking for an outside line. Can Van Ruyten pull it off? He's certainly going to keep his nose in there. He will benefit with the inside line down as we get down around turn 5 and pulls it off. Gets himself up into P4. He's still side by side even. Can he pull ahead into turn 7? There's contact between the Aston Martin as such, but he does pull ahead. That P4 is his for the taking, but is it not without a bit of wheel banging, bit of hard racing between them? Does benefit with the DRS, so he will be able to defend a little bit. Kokkinen will not have that advantage to come up into sector 3 now. Things settling down a little bit. Jerry Van Bussel behind, making a late lunge there on Leo Lund, as Leo Lund ran it a little bit wide there, coming around turn 12, but does slot back in. He's back in P10 with those Williams boys lurking behind him, ready to take any opportune moment to push on through.
They certainly are, and crucially, there goes Laurie Toolkit on Diego Zorzo, and there's Cameron Dowds to the inside of Thomas Kokenny, not able to get that move done, and there goes Top 8 to the inside of Leo Lund. I know he's been forced wide by the Ferrari across the gravel and into the side of Joel Marquardt, picking up front wing damage from the McLaren, and Top 8 spins into the infield, but luckily for him, keeps going in, keeps the car running in a straight line and still within this pack. But what I was going all about, and crucially about in this Grand Prix, that move from Jerry Van Bussel, he just backed up and checked up in front of the Scuderia Ferrari of Leo Lund, our championship protagonist, and Leo Lund has picked up some right front end plate damage, and this is really going to hinder his pace, especially on those mediums around a circuit where downforce is so dependent. It is so crucial to have, as there's Rapassa, his fellow championship rival, making the move on the sister car of the Red Bull of Cameron Dowds. He moves himself up into the top 6. But for Leo Lund, we could see him falling backwards, because that front wing damage, that is going to cost him dearly. And throughout the course of these next near 23 laps, it is going to be near on impossible to score some points if he carries on this way.
Well, he is going down into turn 1 now. We may see a 3-wide moment. No, Sergio Sabrino being smart. Oh no, he's going to try and go for it with that slow Leo Lund, not having the downforce. He's all over the track. He's lost 1, 2, and potentially going to lose 3 positions. There's Joel Marquardt also suffering from that end plate damage, that wing damage. Almost had a run with his teammate on Leo Lund. Leo Lund falling down the order outside of the points. The championship thrown up in the air. He needs to score vital points before that gap just goes ever further away from his grasp. This is absolutely insane. This is just flipped on its head. I saw this go in the distance in terms of championship, but Leo Lund has been given the backhand.
He certainly has, and it was a disaster I was talking about earlier in the show. If something happened to Leo Lund, where that 6-point difference could potentially turn into a 31-point deficit, and he's going to have to try claw his way back into round 9, and that disaster certainly could have just happened. He's got to be praying in that Scarlet Red Ferrari for a safety car as he elects to dive into the pit lane. He's getting rid of that front wing. And what would he move on to? Probably the soft compounder tires, just to gain back as much time as he possibly can, as there's Riyad Sproggis making the move on Larry Tulki for second place. Lovely stuff from the Red Bull driver as Joel Marquardt. Something's happened to him down the main straight as he's pulled over to the right-hand side potentially to let everybody through, and he's dropped down into 19th
Van
place.
Ruyten's going for it.
Van Ruyten going around the outside now of Laurie Tulki. These mediums certainly being the better tyre in this stage of the races. There's Van Ruyten still on the inside. A little bit of contact made between him and the Haas driver of Tulki. He's got the drive out of the corner though and is able to check up just in front of the Haas driver before they get to turn 7, and he moves himself up into the top 3. Van Ruyten, after that slow start in those opening few laps, clawing his way back up through the field, and joining him is his teammate Luca Rapassa, who's now to the inside of Larry Tulki into turn 10. Those mediums really have had that momentum shift into their favour, and those soft tyre runners will surely be into the pit lane within the next 2 or 3 laps, because they are really starting to fade and get worse for wear as those soft tyres really start to grain up and lose all sorts of pace in this Grand Prix.
Absolutely. You see the mediums now come into play. This is crucial data for those medium runners. 10 laps. You can see the struggle now. All this data feeding into those medium runners so they know how long they need to push these medium compounds for, how long they need to go before they consider jumping onto those red wall tyres. You see this scrapping out behind. Daniel Gottschalk almost forced off the track, fell down the order. The scrap still unsues. Further ahead, there's huge contact. The Red Bull as well as Zozo. Zozo's got the back end of it. He's been brunted all the way down, falling behind the Red Bulls. It's a Red Bull 3 and 4. Cameron Dowd's managing to get himself up there, avoiding all those incidents. Just kept himself clean and collected. That's Tomas Korkini running wide as well out of 7, dropping down to 10th position. Everybody's scrapping hard. This could be the pit stop phase, Max.
It certainly could be, but that was Rapassa just trying to make it 3 wide there, as with Zorso just sliding up the road, allowing a gap to open up, and of course with Sproggis on the inside, 3 into 1 does not go, and that's what caused all that pandemonium of Cameron Dowds and Laurie Talkadow. Thank you very much. I'll get those moves done, and I'll move up into the next place, and of course they've moved up into 4th and 2nd respectively. Gottschalk really did not get, was not a big winner from that one, down to 11th place after being forced all the way wide onto the grass, and that just sent him sliding off into turn 5. And look at that, there is Zorzo scrapping with Luca Rapassa. This is over the top 5 places, of course, with Zorzo being in such a tricky position on those soft compound tyres, trying to fight the move, but with a huge dive through turn 3.
Cameron Dowd! Oh!
And the 2 Red Bulls making some contact up into turn 4. Remembering, of course, Mercedes drivers back in 2016, and for Cameron Dowd, he gets past his teammate of Riyad Sproggis, and Luca Rapassa could be trying to follow him through, but not able to get it done. And Sproggis will just stay in front for now. Those soft tyres really are starting to struggle at this phase of the Grand Prix. Can certainly see it with Diego Zorso, with the slide he had through turn 3. And look at this, maybe even Jerry Van Bussel could go for a move on Diego Zorso. Does not get the move done and has to slot back in behind. But for Cameron Dowds and Danny Van Ruyten, they'll be looking to get past Laurie Tulki with the earliest of conveniences. But a Haas driver still seeming in good shape. He is certainly looked over those soft tyres the best out of this field.
Absolutely, medium runners for those Red Bulls are certainly going to have that grip advantage and the pace. Here goes Cameron Dowds, going to try and make a move on Danny Van Ruyten. Van Ruyten burning the battery, trying to stay ahead. He's going to go for it anyway. Will he have the better braking power? Wow, Riyad Sproggis straight to the inside of his own teammate on the soft compounder tyre. Although Cameron Dowds being the reserve driver, Riyad Sproggis will be considered number 1. Is he going to try and take the position away? Cameron Dowds just running his own race here, trying to make the most of those medium compounder tyres, needing to defend. Red Bull versus Red Bull.
Yeah, Cameron Dowd's just coming out on top of that one, but he's got his teammates certainly for company. But he will have to start putting some pressure on Danny Van Ruyten in that RB. So as we then head up the hill into turn 9 now, are we going to see Cameron Dowds get this move done? DRS open for the Red Bull driver. We're about to go late on the brakes into turn 10. And talk about late on the brakes, that's Luca Rapassa jinking to the inside line through turn 10, but it'll be outside for turn 12. Is he going to be able to pull this one off on those better medium tyres? No, Sproggish just stays in front for now. And look further up, Dowds all over the back of Danny Van Ruyten, and Sproggish pulls the trigger. Same with Zorzo as well. He's into the pit lane, and they have started their pit stops now. Is it going to be more softs, or is it going to be the medium compounded tyres for these drivers? As we now head down into turn 1, and Dowds sits behind Danny Van Ruyten.
Absolutely, medium compounded tyres, 4, 2, 3 and 4 in the run-ins. Larry Toolkit just trying to hold his own on those softs, trying to extend a little bit longer so he can run the medium compounded tyre a bit harder, should we say, and when he needs to fight against those that are going for this undercut strategy. Riyad Sproggish leading the charge of that undercut strategy. Keep your eyes on him as we come around now on lap 13. Larry Tulkey doing very, very well to keep those medium runners at bay behind him so far. Excuse me.
Yes, it certainly is going to be quite a challenge to keep those medium runners behind. But for Danny Van Ruyten, is he going to be able to get a move done on Tulkey, or Tulkey come into the pit lane? He surely will, because of course everyone on those mediums, they're going to be on that undercut strategy. So for Ruyten, he's got to, for Tulkey, he's got to come into the pit lane. For Ruyten, he was having a huge moment through turn 12. The car just squirreling all across the circuit, and of course was able just to stay in this in front of Cameron Dowds, who's now under pressure from Luca Rabassa. But here comes Danny Van Ruyten using that opportunity on Laurie Tulkey to move himself up into that race lead, and Dowds follows him through. The Red Bull not allowing the V-Cub to escape his line of sight at all. Whatever you do, I do the same, says Cameron Dowds, and he just follows that RB through. As now here comes Luca Rapassa to the inside of Laurie Tulkey. An aggressive move from the championship leader, looking to break into that top 3 for the first time this evening. Is he going to be able to do that? Round the outside now through turn 5, as we see those medium tyres really coming into good use, and around the outside, a beautiful move from Luca Rapassa. That's how you move up into 3rd place and follow Cameron Dowds and Van Ruyten through, as Tulkey, Zorzo, that is Keaton Lutt, and also Ray's MTS, the only drivers to be staying out on these softs for that little bit longer. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them in at the end of this lap, because those softs, as you see Tulkey with a big slide, really, really struggling, and are surely within punching territory within the next couple laps.
Absolutely, he's done very well to run them as long as they have the rest of the soft runners, but they can see the drop off, they can feel it, they're struggling out there. Larry Tulkey leading the charge now, dives into the pits, so this is where things get crucial. We see a change for the lead. Cameron Dowds going for it on Danny Van Ruyten. Now we need to keep our eyes on Riyad Sproggish as he's coming around turn number 13 now. Will this undercut play into effect? He's got quite a gap there on the drivers behind as something happened. He's just broke away from that train and will undercut the lot. Eyes on Jerry Van Bussel. We'll take a quick look at the tyre graph. You can see is also Boxton will come out in the pits. Where will this place those runners who have weighed out? Reyes Imtiaz, Leo Lund, all there trying to fall back in line, but Zorzo comes out in P15 there. It's Tope who's come out in 13th, and Larry Tulkey, he's done very well to come out in 7th.
He certainly has. Laurie has really done well there to keep himself up into that top 7, and now is looking to try and get by Sergio Sobrino in that McLaren. But for Sproggish, he's really done well breaking away from that train. This undercut really working into that favour. I wouldn't be surprised if those mediums potentially here, Corey, could see him to the end of the Grand Prix. We've got to see what the likes of Van Ruyten, Rapassa and Dowds can do. But of course, coming in on lap 13 is Van Ruyten picks up a 3-second time penalty. That's crucial for that battle for the race lead. As we look at that, we see Rapassa all over the back of his teammate as that forces Van Ruyten into the move on Cameron Dowds, and he moves himself up into that race lead. But for Sproggish, if these medium runners of Van Ruyten, Dowds and Rapassa are able to take those mediums to lap 20, you surely can think here, Corey, Sproggish can take those mediums to the end of the Grand Prix, and that crucially could, with this undercut, cause a masterclass of a strategy, especially with him being able to break away from Tulkey, and could lead him in a world of his own. He can manage his tyres and just see this race out.
Absolutely, Riyad Sprogis has done very well to get that gap. Larry Toolkit has just pulled on through on Sergio Sobrino and has breached over half a second gap already. It was a very tidy, easy textbook maneuver under DRS for Larry Toolkit. Now trying to chase down the man who sits himself in net P1 out of the pit stop strategies, Riyad Sprogis, who's leading by 1.8 seconds over Larry Toolkit. It's looking very, very much in Riyad Sprogis' favour with the gap he's bridged so far. But don't forget, those front four drivers have yet to box. They're going to benefit in the final closing laps of the Grand Prix with the tyre advantage. Just where can they place themselves in terms of the fight as they claw back through the field? Cameron Dowds are all scrapping it out once again. He's going to take the lead of the race. Luca Rapassa has to fight his way back through. It's a V-carb sandwich with that Red Bull stuck in the middle.
Yeah, that Red Bull just can't escape that second place. Cameron Dowds just sitting nicely with your championship leader at the moment as Larry Toolkit sets the fastest lap of the race, 1.7 behind Riyad Sprogis. It's that Scotch Stack side by side with Sergio Sobrino. Well, we're going to see a move made by the Kick Sauber. He's had a really good recovery as well as Scotch Stack in this Grand Prix. Of course, was down in 11th place after that earlier incident where we saw everybody after that contact with Zorzo and Sprogis and also Rapassa just be all over the road. And of course, Gottschalk was sent sliding down the order and he's now up into 7th, top 3 of these medium runners that have made their pit stop. So for Gottschalk, can't count him out in this Grand Prix. Some super pace so far in this race, and certainly could be one who could make a surprise appearance on the podium, but a big slide through that, like that through turn 9 is really going to hinder his chances of a good finish if he's not able to hold on to those tyres. But back up to that front 3. Are we going to see Cameron Dowds take that lead once again? And is this time, is Danny Van Ruyten going to be able to get by? No. So Dowds finally gets in front of both three cars, but that'll be short-lived because within the next lap, he'll probably be at the back of that train, like we just saw what happened to Rapassa.
Absolutely. We look back at that train of the drivers who have implemented their pit stop strategies. Riyad Sprogis now 8.7 seconds away from the drivers that have yet to pit, yet to swap their tyres. It's been a battle of attrition in terms of strategies. I wonder what's going through the minds of those in front with the way this gap is dropping. They're losing seconds per lap. It's certainly going to put some pressure on, but they will benefit in the end on those soft compound tyre. We saw Tomas Korkeny there fighting it out side by side. Now he's forced into defend. It's Keaton Lutt now trying to get the move done, trying to make it side by side with Korkeny. Can Keaton Lutt pull on through? Korkeny benefiting with the traction, getting that outside line nice and tidy. Does pull on ahead. Says, no, that's mine. You're not having it just yet. Maybe fight it out, but he has got a bit of a run there. He's jumped me away. He's almost pulling ahead. There was a bit of tyre locking between the two. Can he make it through? Corkin is still trying to defend it. He's opened the door for his teammate to get well and truly in the midst. Diego Zorzo, say hello. Where have you come from? Around the outside. He's going to take both of them and jump ahead of his teammate up into P11. That's beautiful for Zorzo. Now Corkin can just hold him back.
Super move there from Diego Zorzo to get past not only one but two cars in the span of 2 corners. As here comes Keaton Lutt to the inside now of Tomas Korkeny. He's going to be able to get this move done. Of course, Korkeny with that front wing damage, that's going to hinder his run through turns 1 and 2. And there goes Keaton Lutt up into 12th place. Nicely done from the Williams driver to set that up. And now that could allow Korkeny to fall into the clutches of the other Williams driver of Tope. As you can see, round the outside goes Tope. This could actually allow him to attack his teammate of Keaton Lutt as it's free wide into turn 5. A big slide under braking for Korkeny, locking up those rear tyres. And there goes Tope through on his teammate. That was beautiful teamwork there from the Williams pair. It was beautiful teamwork from the Aston Martin drivers last time around. It's now brilliant teamwork from the Williams drivers as well. But crucially for them, they have dropped DRS range to Diego Zorzo up in front, who is now trying to make a charge against the Alpine of Tony Hietala.
Absolutely, I brought us back to the front. We've got a beautiful helicopter camera taking us down as we see Rapassa dive into the lead. Cameron Dowds following him through. They're just exchanging the DRS now. They know. They've seen that gap start to form on Zalambieda, but what they don't know is that Riyad Sprogis is absolutely charging behind, trying to close that gap up. But now here comes Larry Toolkit, pulls on ahead of Riyad Sprogis, finally catches him back up, dropped that 1.8 seconds that Sprogis had benefited from, and now it's Larry Tulke to try and chase down Zalan Bieda and put the pressure on those front drivers. But now we're getting to the part of the race where the front four can pit onto the soft compounder tyre. We saw lap 13, lap 14 drivers running as long as that, eventually coming into the pits for those yellow wall tyres. Rapasa, Dowds, Danny Van Ralten, Bieda, what are they thinking? When will they choose to slap on those soft compound?
That is going to be the key question. Of course, we're on lap 20 now, so we know the likes of Sprogis and Gottschalk will be able to take those tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. And we'll see what they're going to be able to do in this one. Actually, Van Rooyen into the pit lane. He's the first to pull the trigger of that top three onto the soft compounded tyres. What will this bring for the V-Carb? Will it be enough to charge his way back up through the order? Of course, look how slow he's trundling down the pit lane as everybody in the field blasts past him. Be about, I would say, maybe 3 or 4 seconds back, probably in the clutches of Reis Imtiaz and Gabor. So for Danny Van Rooyen and also for Dowds and Rapasa, it's going to be a big task on their hands. For Van Rooyen, he's just out in front of Reis Imtiaz, brilliantly timed. And now he needs to get his head down and start pushing onto the back of second place in the championship, Leo Lund.
Absolutely. So there, with Van Rooyen coming out in 17th, you can only imagine the rest of them are going to come out there at the back of the field behind Gabor Santos with the way things are looking. It's all down for Danny Van Rooyen now to push and get through this field, get past everybody. He has come out ahead of Reis Imtiaz, which is very much needed. Reis Imtiaz does have that DRS, and he's going to try and close up to Van Rooyen, just sort of use him as that towing aid to pull him closer to the field. But that gap is almost a second broken already for Van Rooyen and Imtiaz.
Yeah, those soft tyres being so fresh just out of the box will be super rapid at this phase of the Grand Prix. Look at that purple middle sector now as Rapasa and Dowds are into the pit lane. Let's see where Van Rooyen comes out in correlation to them. Of course, Sprogis and Tulke swapping places down that main straight. Where is Van Rooyen? He is passing the pit lane exit and he's jumped them. He's jumped the pair he was squabbling with, and you might have been right there. They could be in the clutches, especially Rapasa concerns to be in the clutches of Reis Imtiaz, but no, just comes out in front just by mere millimeters, getting out in front, as there's also been able to get past Jerry Van Bussel for 5th place in this Grand Prix. But for Van Rooyen, Dowds and Rapasa, it is game on to now hunt down the rest of the field. Let's see what the next 12 laps of this Grand Prix will have in store. And of course, Van Rooyen will be the first driver to start slicing his way through the medium tyre runners. But of course, with everybody having DRS, it could be quite a difficult challenge, because he's going to have to really make up that time in the corners. But he can't wear his tyres out too much here, can he, Corey? Or he'll just get stuck, and unfortunately, his tyres will just hit that cliff too early.
Absolutely, he needs to play it smart. He can't push too hard now. He just needs to settle into a pace for 1-2 laps, break into that DRS, and then when you know that it is an absolute crisp, perfect move, it's not going to hinder you in any way, shape or form, pass through the field. But now at the front of the pack, Daniel Gottschalk in the mix, Sergio Sobrino also trying to get past Riyad Sprogis. Larry Tulke got through and away from what could have been disaster. Riyad Sprogis and Sergio Sobrino almost coming to blows there into turn 1, and as we get going out towards turn 4, Sobrino all over the rear diffuser of that Red Bull, looking to potentially get on through podium position in sights for that McLaren as he tries to fight his way through and get ahead of the Red Bull. Things are certainly starting to spice up. Danny Van Rooyen at 1.4 seconds, 1.3, the 10th starting to chip away to Leo Lund ahead. It's all for Danny Van Rooyen's hands now to play to try and charge through the field. He tries to close up the gap. He's almost within the DRS. It's barely with there, and he does break into it. Next lap, expect to see DVR to start making moves.
Yeah, expect him now to start to get up through the order. As we see, also Rapasa and Dowds right behind him. They're going to try following through, and with that 1 lap advantage, they can now just maybe extend that pushing phase just that little bit more, and their tyres won't hit the cliff as quickly. As you can see there, Rapasa, fastest lap of the Grand Prix, and the first victim for these V-Carbs is going to be the second in the championship. But here comes Zorzo around the outside, and not only Sprockets, but maybe even Sergio Sabrino as well. There's some contact between the Red Bull and the McLaren, and there goes the Aston Martin driver around the outside through turn 4, up into third place. There's a yellow flag. That is for Leo Lund. Something's happened there with Luca Rapassa, actually. So the two championship protagonists could have just came into strife there. As you can see, Sergio Sabrino to the inside line of Sprockets, getting in front of that Red Bull driver and moving himself up into fourth. But now Sprockets under pressure from Jerry Van Bussel. It's all kicking off at the front and the bottom end of the field. As here comes Van Bussel looking to that inside line, but he's also defending from top 8 as well. He's going to try streak round the outside, not able to get that done, and that's allowed Keaton Luck through on his Williams teammate. As you can see, they're now pushing Jerry Van Bussel through turn 12 as we head into 13 and then into 14. And oh, I thought was going for a move into 14. That would have been audacious, and that really would have been brave, especially with the poor run. He would have got out of that final corner, but DRS is now open as Gottschalk takes the race lead from Larry Tulke. Here comes Keaton Luck to the outside of Jerry Van Bussel. Is he going to get this move done before he hits the brakes? Yes, he is. He moves up into the top 6, and for Cameron Dowds, he's past Danny Van Ruyten and it's now on the back of Leroy Brown, nearly into those point-paying positions.
This scrap is still unfolding. It's not over yet. Here goes Jerry Van Bussel trying to defend against what would have been Top here all over the rear end, almost forcing him to attack. Keaton Lutt ahead. Top here trying to get through and make that a Williams 6-7. Jerry Van Bussel having none of it and forced to defend and fight his place. But can Top here do anything about it? Can he close back up? You can see the rest of the field just etching ever closer, almost rear diffuser to front wing. The huge train coming through as that scrap unfolded in front of him. Cameron Dowds now getting into the mix. Here goes DVR trying to pull on through. Van Ruyten does go around the outside of Leroy Brown. Cameron Dowds looking to the outside line, adjusting hers. Outside moves being taken left, right and centre. Those soft compounder tyres can certainly do it. No, Cameron Dowds was that off the track though. A bit audacious coming into turn 13, but he did get the position done. Danny Van Ruyten now trying to get the move done on Justin. Can he pull on through? Justin deploying the battery, trying to defend it with all his might. Does so with these. Cameron Dowds now to the inside of Cole Kenny, as well as Danny Van Ruyten to the inside of Justin Ertz into turn 1. Cole Kenny loses out the position. Justin loses the position. They're scrapping it out now, using those soft compounder tyres. Is Cameron Dowds doing what he needs to, putting a car between him and Van Ruyten behind?
He certainly is, and now here he comes from Tony Hiatella around the outside. What a lovely move this would be. There's a little bit of contact made, and Dowds will just have to abort that attempt. But look at how these soft tyres are just able to slice their way through the medium-tired field. As that's Van Ruyten around the outside of contact with Kenny, and luckily keeps that car facing in the right direction. As we now see Cameron Dowds all over the back of Hiatella once again. Is he going to go for that late-breaking lunge into turn 10? No, he will not, but certainly is Danny Van Ruyten as he slams into the side of the Aston Martin, but gets the move done late on the brakes. Audacious moves being made in this Grand Prix, and the soft tyre runners of Dowds and Danny Van Ruyten know they have to get these moves done at the earliest of convenience, and they just need to keep pushing forwards. Tulke and Gottschalk swapping places once more. Zorzo could get involved in the action. He moves up into second place. Of course, Zorzo looking to win his home Grand Prix. Dowds not able to get past Hiatella this time round through turn 1, but he's going to try to set this up into turn 4. Look at the run he can get. He can just be so much more aggressive on that throttle. He's looking to the inside line into turn 4. Late on the brakes he will go. Is he going to be able to pull this one off? Yes, he is. He's just streaking clear at the exit of the corner. He moves himself up into 9th place, but Hiatella's not going to go down without a fight. There's some rear locking from Cameron Dowds, but he's able to carry that momentum round the outside, and for Cameron Dowds, he moves himself up into P9. This is certainly a kid to watch in the future coming from the console scene, and we can now see Cameron Dowds attack onto top 8 and Jerry Van Bussel in front.
Absolutely, Cameron Dowds now needs to reel it close up to Jerry Van Bussel and then get on through him as he does get an inside line run, switching to the outside. Look at the traction difference. This is absolutely phenomenal. Cameron Dowds using the tyre while he's got it, around the outside, up into P8, sets his eyes, locks on like a missile onto the back of top here. No trying to close up, looking for what could be a move down into turn 1. Can he get close enough? He is certainly benefiting with the tyre advantage through the corners. Look at that turn 1, closing up. Turn 2, closing up. Sets up another run for turn 3. We saw it the lap before. Does he have the run once again? You're damn right he's going to try for it. He's forcing Toppe into defence. Look for an outside line, but it's not coming just yet. Here goes Rapasso around the outside. Hatala's made contact. That front end sent spinning. Did very well to keep himself going in a straight line. Down Van Ruyten. Sorry, I'm losing my head here a bit. Van Ruyten gets through on Van Bussel. Rapasso also looking to follow on through. Cameron Dowds not able to get past Toppe as of yet, but he's all over that rear diffuser.
He certainly is, but they need to get these moves done because they are running out of time. Lap 28 of 33, and there is a switch of positions between the two Williams drivers. Formation flying from Lutz and Toppe. There's some contact with Dowds, but he's going to try and hold this one round the outside. Williams can do all they can to just try and box this Red Bull in, but it won't be enough. He barges through on Keed, and you cannot hold this ball back at the very least as he opens up the DRS now. He's got the slipstream with Toppe in front, who's derating in front of him. He now moves up into that top 6. Next up is his teammate Asprogis, who's now fighting Sergio Sobrino over that 4th place in this Grand Prix. There's some contact made in the Red Bull, moves himself up. But for Cameron Dowds, he is looking at trying to win his first race here in PC Tier 2. And what a way to do it, for charge through the field. But with 5 laps to go, he has to pass 5 drivers. It is very, very nervous time. So for Dowds, he just has to keep his head and focus on moving forward.
Don't forget, you can really maximise the soft compounded tyre. He's running a lighter car. He burnt off that fuel load on that medium stint. He can be ultra aggressive on these soft compounds. It will not be as harsh on the tyres, so he's certainly using it to his advantage. He closes up ever more to that rear diffuser, Sergio Sobrino. Sobrino may be forced into a defensive line. We've seen him get the moves around here in Sector 3 for Cameron Dowds, but he doesn't have a run as of yet. He's just setting himself up for that DRS, that textbook manoeuvre coming down the pit straight. Look how close he is to the rear of that McLaren. Certainly setting himself up, certainly in the opportune moment. He is going to look for it. Can he get there? That rear wing is open. Burn the battery. Get a little bit closer. Maybe move to that inside line. It's not there yet. He is just going to settle into the pace now and wait till he's a little bit closer. Sobrino burning all the battery, doing anything he can to defend against what is a charging Red Bull. Now can Cameron Dowds get the run out of turn 3, which we've seen so many times before? Sobrino's forced into defence. He switched to the outside line, outside of turn 4, going the long way around. Sobrino almost spinning it there, trying to get a bit too happy on the throttle, and through goes Cameron Dowds. Now settles in behind his teammate. Will we see team orders? We saw the two Red Bulls come to blows early on in that first stint. Cameron Dowds has got to be smart here now to get past his Red Bull counterpart.
He certainly does. Will Sprogis in the sister car just move out of the way for him. Of course, he sees Sprogis with so much pace behind him. But when we cross the line, it's 3 laps to go. For Sprogis, this is key moments for him. Does he go for personal glory and stay in 4th place? Will he allow Cameron Dowds through? Of course, as we're now heading out through the penultimate corner, you've got Gottschalk and Zorzo squabbling quite heavily in front as well. Look at Dowds run out of that final corner. DRS open for the Red Bull man, and it does not look like Sprogis is going to be moving out of the way anytime soon, so it's going to be a scrap between the two Red Bulls. Dowds just backs off ever so slightly. He's going to look for that run. He's been trying to get all race long up into turn 3, and just watch him do this. Watch him slingshot off the corner. Here he comes. Here comes Cameron Dowds to the inside of Riyad Sprogis. And nicely done on the brakes. Not even a fight put up from Sprogis. He knew the move was going to be made. And there's a slide from Gottschalk. This can invite Dowds to the inside now. For turn 5. Could we see the kick Sauber demoted from the podium? Not just yet, but time is certainly ticking for Cameron Dowds. He needs to get past Gottschalk and Zorzo on that next lap. So here he comes then, Cameron Dowds. He's all over the back of Daniel Gottschalk. This is surely the run that he needs to move himself up into 3rd place. He's going to go late on the brakes compared to Gottschalk. Just cuts in front, and he moves himself up into 3rd place, and is now staring down the back of that Aston Martin and down the barrel to tick another one off the list.
Absolutely lined himself up to get past Zorzo. Then he's only got Larry Tolkien to dispatch of, and the victory is his for the taking after a masterclass strategy. Went long long on those mediums on that first stint and is maximising those soft compound tyre to the absolute advantage here and now in the final closing stint. We said it early on, the mediums are going to be dead for those in front. Cameron Dowds is going to benefit with the extra tyre life, and he certainly made it happen for him. All the overtakes, all the aggressive manoeuvres, it's now all to play for. On the penultimate lap, he's trying to close it in on Diego Zorzo ahead. The pole sitter could be under tremendous attack here as we get through into Sector 2. The DRS is to come at the end of it. Can he close up ever more? Get that perfect opportunity to pass like he did on lap 31 on Daniel Goschlak with that late braking manoeuvre. You see that flashing rear light, recharging the battery. He's now going to set himself up for the move. Can he close up on that Aston Martin? That rear wing is open. Not quite yet. It's not coming yet. He settles back into his pace, waiting, recharging that battery a little bit more to use it all on that final lap. As we get going now into Sector 3, round turn 12 to go. 2 corners to go before it's all systems go for the final lap.
Yes, we certainly are, and for a special Spanish Grand Prix this has been, and for Zorzo it could be even better, winning your home Grand Prix here in PC Tier 2. But here we go, down this main straight, Tulki has looking down to the inside line. Can he get 1? Can he get 2? No, he's got past 1, but now he has that momentum in his hands. He went the DRS down into turn 10, but he still can't count out the hatch driver of Larry Tulki in all of this. He is fighting for his championship hopes. He's fighting to keep his championship challenge alive. At the minute, it will be enough as Rapasa able to get past Tope. As you can see, Dowd just staring at the back of Diego Zorzo. He's got to keep his nerve. He can't make a mistake behind the Aston Martin. He has got to be pinpoint perfect through 7 and 8, sorry, as we now head through turn 9. This is the last overtaking zone for the Red Bull. He's using every ounce of that battery. Zorzo defends aggressively. To the outside goes Cameron Dowds. Is he going to be able to pull this one off? Round the outside he goes. Is this going to be enough? Zorzo with the squeeze into turn 12. Cameron Dowds slides. There's contact. Zorzo comes out in front, and it's going to be the Aston Martin driver. He got pole position in his home Grand Prix. It's the special Spaniard, Diego Zorzo, wins here in Spain. What a drive, what a performance, what a race here in Spain, and the homeboy wins the Spanish Grand Prix, and that will go down as one of his favourites when he comes back and looks on this in years to come. Diego Zorzo wins here in Barcelona, and what a popular win that is.
Absolutely, that was phenomenal final racing lap. Cameron Dowds throwing it all out, but Zorzo in his home Grand Prix defending to the absolute maximum when it was needed most, able to keep that Red Bull behind that is charged through 7, 8 drivers behind you to get himself into that position. Zorzo takes it with a bang. Absolute dominant drive. He took pole, he takes the victory. It's a grand slam at his home Grand Prix, and he's going to be absolutely over the moon with that one.
He certainly is. Vamos, Diego Zorzo. Wow, what a way to do it. So, oh, what a race that was. Just adrenaline, action-packed racing from start to finish. And your order looks like this. Zorzo wins out, followed by Cameron Dowds, who came oh so close after a mighty charge through the field in second. He is certainly somebody to watch. Shazoo's Scottish star boy. Keep an eye on him in the future. Laurie Tulki in third, I think, has just kept his championship hopes alive for at least another week. Daniel Gottschalk in fourth, and then Ricard Sprogis rounds out your top 5. Sergio Sobrino in 6th, followed by Luca Rapassa 7th, Jerry Van Bussel 8th, Tope 9th, and Tamas Kokeni rounding out your top 10. Leroy Brown 11th, that is Keaton Lutt in 12th, Danny Van Ruyten in 13th, Zalan Bida 14th, and for Leo Lund, luckily for him, Rapassa did not score that many big points, so he is able to live another day in the championship fight. And then your DNFs are Gabor, Justin, and Joel Marquardt. But Corey, what a stellar race that was. I'm still shaking.
Oh, hold on. It was indeed. You'll have to bear with me a second. We've got a bit of an audio cut as I've tried to drag us to the interview room. But those final few laps were absolutely incredible, to say the least. Just what you wanted to see to finish off round 8 in this unknown, unprecedented mystery season. And of course, for Zorzo, when it came to his home GP, when he needed it the most, the victory was taken. And what a drive it was. We shall see if he wants to come down for a chat in the interview room. We do have all three with us. Let me just get them all in with us. We shall start with the driver who sits off in P3, Larry Tulkey, scrapping it out till the bitter end, trying to do his absolute best and hardest to what could have been a victory, the first victory of the season, but ultimately a podium good enough. How was that race for you, my friend, and how was your qualifying?
It was okay race though, and the quality we had only like one run, I mean 2 runs to do, so I just tried to maximize everything because I didn't do any practice for this track, so it was a good result.
The mystery season catching you out without knowing what track is to come, being a bit of a wild card just thrown into Spain, you say, not having the practice, so certainly catching you at a bit of a unknown moment, would you say?
Yes.
Absolutely, but it's a good podium finish, some good points as well. So I should see you move a little bit higher in the standings and help you fight on for what could be P3 in the championship. You got P3 here on the podium, so it's a good points finish, and the standings are looking more your favour towards that P3 in terms of the championship. But the front two, I think they may just be a little bit out of grasp. But who's to say that it can't come in the final 2 rounds? Are you confident for the final 2 rounds, even though you don't know what they may be?
I don't know. We see. We'll really see what we can do in the next races. So yeah.
Well, it's a good finish from yourself. And on to Max, if you've got any questions for your podium sitter, Larry Tulke.
Yeah, I mean, congratulations on that third place, Larry Torquay. But yeah, just unfortunate at the end there. You had such a superb race, but on that final lap, a bit like what we saw in Canada as well, it was just wrong place to be in, wrong timing to be in the lead of the Grand Prix, where you just unfortunately a sitting duck down the straight. And was it just try limit how many cars get by you and just try hold on to the podium on that final lap?
Yeah, of course I did that because I don't want to pre-check everyone for DRS games. So, and if I would have slowed down more, I would have lost more positions on the long straight on the first straight. So I was trying to maximize my result. So yeah, I did it
Yeah.
pretty well, I think.
How difficult as well on that opening stint were those soft tyres, because you did extend them quite a while, but it did just seem about about 6-7 laps in, the medium tyres started to slowly be the more favoured tyre. Was that very difficult to come up against, especially with the likes of Dowds and Van Ruyten trying to make their way back up through the order?
Yeah, I mean, I was just trying to save my tires as much as I can, so I can extend the stint and then have better tires in the end.
Yeah, well, congratulations on your third place, and hopefully we see you back here next week, and hopefully, for your sake, your championship chances will still hopefully be alive.
Yeah, we already see.
Well, we can get ourselves on to Cameron Dowds, P2 sitter, who came out of nowhere with an alternate strategy, going all out attack and clawing through the field with some absolute brutal overtakes, elbows out, really sending it hard through the corners while you had the tyres to your advantage. That was fantastic. But again, as we mentioned in the qualifying, as you heard from Larry Tulke, only 2 runs available. That weather coming in and ruining any chances of potentially a pole position. But it was Zozo who took it away in his own Grand Prix. How was your qualifying? Let's have a quick rundown on that.
Yeah, well, on my second run, I actually lost like 2 tenths in the final sector because it started to drizzle. Hadn't that have been, I would have been on pole. But I was actually quite happy, to be honest, because usually qualifying is my expertise. I usually do pretty bad in it, so to be fifth, I knew I was in the fight for the win straight away. But we took a bit of a gamble on the alternate strategy. We didn't really know if it would pay off, but it did. I can't remember who it was, but when I was coming up through the field, someone made it pretty difficult with some questionable moves. So that made it a bit harder because it took me quite a while to get past. And when I did, I was low on battery, had to save up for a few laps, and then it just delays everything a little bit. So had that not have been, maybe I could have got myself into P2 the lap before and then been in a much better position to try and get the win. But nevertheless, I ended up being able to fight for the win at least. I just I got put a bit wide and didn't really have the traction to fight that one. And then yeah, but P2 still pretty decent.
Well, no, it is a good finish from yourself, though, getting yourself onto the podium. So this will be your second podium this season, as you know, joining in late, making that transition back here from console onto the PC side. How are you faring with that transition? You're liking it here, and you're coming back with certainly with a bang, to say it the least. Are these the driving a little bit different, or does it all feel the same?
The driving just on the game feels so much better. I think it's just the input delay is just it's just so much better on PC. I think I'd say I'm a tenth and a half a lap quicker easily in the race at least. And then in terms of the drivers, everyone's a lot more clean, but also a lot more aggressive at the same time. Like you'd get dive bombed quite a lot, but it's very clean. So that's quite a lot better than what console was, because on console it was just pure chaos and people being idiots, to be honest. So I'm quite glad to be off it. Can't
Well,
confirm.
Oh, we do have a confirmation from Zorzal there. Well, yeah, no, it's nice to see you back here on the PC side, and you're certainly showing yourself as a force to be reckoned with. So it's certainly potentially putting your name out there as a contender for a championship next season, maybe to come, depending on how things go towards what is the calendar in F125 and the way the game is. And obviously, drivers need to adjust to those new grip limits and see how they feel on that new game cycle. But for the end of 24, you've certainly come back with an absolute bang, mate. So it's a huge congratulations to you and another P2. That's your second P2 here in WOR.
Yep, thank you very much.
Max, on to you, my friend.
Yes, of course. Congratulations, Cameron, on that second place. But yeah, talking more about that second stint on that soft compounded tyres, just how difficult, of course, with everyone squabbling in front of you as well, how difficult was it just to really find out how to pinpoint that move exactly? And how early on did you actually find out about the run out of turn 3 into turn 4 was quite optimal?
Yeah, to be honest, it was pretty optimal, but I personally think that what corner would it be? There's that left-hander, the start of the final sector, and then there's a sweeping right-hander after that that was really good for overtakes.
Oh, 10
there was
into
so
12.
much, yeah, there was so much grip going around the outside. I think I did that 2 or 3 times. I think that was the best one, to be honest. But nevertheless, turn 3 was still pretty decent, but it was a bit more difficult. But yeah, it was just about kind of just seeing whatever I could do, just trying to get past wherever I could, to be honest. I didn't really have it planned. It was just if I was close, I'd just go for it.
Yeah, it was fair enough. But yeah, of course, that opening stint as well on those medium tyres, did you find that the two V-carb drivers were quite nice with you, of course, with those swaps, or was it just very difficult to manage, of course, with them both being in the same team? You knew that one would have to go longer. Was it just hope that the driver that does stay out longer was the driver in front of you?
Yeah, to be honest, I was just kind of letting them pass because it would be stupid not to, you know. If you're trying to battle for the lead when you're on an alternate strategy, you're just losing really unnecessary time, making you come out way further than you should be. So I was trying to work together with them, and it did work out in the end. I managed to pit in front of Luca, and then Danny had pit the lap before, so it was actually pretty optimal for me.
Yeah, it certainly was. But yeah, congratulations on that second place, and hopefully within these next 2 weeks you could maybe be celebrating your first win here in PC Tier 2.
Yeah, thank you.
And that is a huge congratulations, Cameron Dowles, who's come back to the PC side. Absolute contender for race victories. And we set our sights on the man who wins in his home Grand Prix, Diego Zorzo, pole sitter, fastest in qualifying with that short little sweet qualifying that we got granted, with the conditions ever deteriorating after the 10-minute mark. So that first lap you set was not quite the, well, was it up there? I can't actually remember, but I know that second lap certainly one to be the pole position time. Nobody else able to contend. Did you have more time in that lap? This is something I want to know. Did you have more tenths to gain, especially expecting with the track evolution to come into play later down the line in qualifying?
Yeah, I did have probably 3 tenths.
Ooh.
Obviously it's the bunker and you go in there without practicing, so it's always difficult to nail the first lap. But I was lucky I did Spain recently, so yeah, it was a clean bunker, decent, not special, but it was enough for pole, even though I bottled the second run.
It was indeed managing to get yourself at the top there and just hold it out by the finest of margins. The second run invalid. Did the rain come and hinder that second lap?
No, it didn't. I just made a mistake in turn 4 and 5, and it was over. I validated afterwards, so
Yeah, we
yep.
saw towards the end of what was the final set of runs, the rain came while some drivers are still on track trying to set their improvements. Cameron Dowd's falling victim to that bit of slick, greasy conditions before everybody made it back into the pits. Well, then the race as well, the fighting, the scrapping going on. You was well though within contention, and especially some opportunistic moves. You was waiting for open doors and taking them. I saw double overtakes from yourself. Certainly a fun race. So feel good to win here in Espanol, and especially with the moves that you did. I can't say that you wouldn't have a smile on your face, mate. It looked like a very fun race from your perspective.
Yeah, I do have a smile on my face. It's been, yeah, it's obviously special when it's in your home track. It's also my first PC Tier 2 win. So yeah, I'm really happy. I I was the good here. I won the 3 league races I did here. So yeah, it's extra special, let's say. And it was, yeah, although I had pretty bad luck because I got killed in the first stint. I lost like 5 positions. Then in the pits, I lost 2 seconds and another position. So yeah, I had to make my way up again and I took the win. So yeah, pretty happy.
Well, yeah, it was a beautiful win indeed. And of course, like you say, we've gone better. Your first PC Tier 2 victory, and of course, being at your home Grand Prix. So it's just all smiles all around. And that last lap scrap with Cameron Dowds, and oh, you know, it was amazing to watch from the outside. And like I say, I can only imagine what it felt like being in the driver's seat, being a part of the battle in action. Well, congratulations on the victory, and it is a big smile for it being at your home Grand Prix. On to Max for any questions from him.
Yeah, one from me, Zorzo. Just what was your feelings heading on to that final lap? Of course, we mentioned that battle with Cameron, but of course, seeing him on the soft compounded tyres, knowing he would get past Lari, was it just be so aggressive into turn 10 that you just try and hold the position, or were you just somewhat like, if he gets me, he gets me?
Um, I actually thought it was gonna be fine at first because I knew I had the pace to overtake Lar in the last lap. I did, and then I thought, okay, I got half the battery. I can easily win, relatively. So yeah, but then he was pretty close and he got DRS, so he tried to overtake me, and I was a bit scared. Not gonna lie, I didn't expect him to be so close because I knew his softs were dying, but of course my minions were also pretty dead. So I just went to the inside, and yeah, it was a pretty nice battle, as always with Cameron, and yeah, happy to take the win. Although, yeah, I just wanted to win. I wouldn't have um, been happy with the P2 in that situation.
Yeah, of course, it was a brilliant drive from yourself, and yeah, a really well deserved victory. Pole and a race win in your home race. That's surely got to keep you happy, and probably will that be your most memorable win?
Um, one of them, yeah, one of them. Those 3 in Spain, especially one, um, like 1 month ago. was really special. But yeah, this definitely is one of them.
Yeah, well, congratulations, and hopefully we see you back on the podium and potentially another race win next time out.
Thank you. See you next week.
And that will do us here in WOR PC Tier 2 for round 8 of the Mystery Season. And what a round it has been here in Catalonia. Of course, we haven't seen anybody hit that bump max. I've got to say, everybody's kept themselves well and truly out of that line. And nobody has been sent to the SpaceX facility to become the next Falcon 9 rocket. That's to say the least. So everybody's nice and bonny, got themselves through the Grand Prix, no mistakes, no incidents through that turn 13 bump. And it's been a fairly well-run Grand Prix. And God, you've joined at the right time for that one. That was a hell of a race.
It certainly was, and I mean, yeah, everyone kept it nice through turn 13. No one making too many mistakes and getting onto that bump. So it was nice to see everybody racing as aggressive as they did. Even the championship duo of Lund and Rapace really getting their elbows out. It was lovely to see. And yeah, should be more chaos and more carnage and more adrenaline-filled action next time out. I kind of hope that I'm here for the rest of the season, but we shall see. But yeah, it's certainly going to be interesting. And the championship, it's still wide open between Rapace and Lund. Because, I mean, Rapace only scoring a total of, if I can do my maths correctly, 6 points, I think. That brings that total up to 12. So all Lund needs is a win, and he's right back on track heading into the last round of the season.
Absolutely. So again, I said, we may see it go the distance, and with a mighty, spicy Spanish Grand Prix, it's going to go to the next round at least, if not the distance. It's all down to come out in round 9. Well, what track will it be? That is all from us for now, and we shall see you next week. Same time, same place. Do not miss it. Things are starting to heat up.